The death penalty is a very serious matter in today's United States government. There are two sides of the story. One side says that we cannot violate someone's life, liberty, or their pursuit of happiness. The other side says that if they killed someone, why can't we kill them back? An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. We are going to be doing a comparison of both sides of this issue, and we want you, the YouTube viewers, to vote on what you think is better.
The death penalty is not a sufficient deterrent to crime. It has been proven that most murderers completely ignore the consequences of their actions. The New York Times conducted a study in which they compared the homicide rates from states with the death penalty to the states without it. It was actually proven that the homicide rate was higher in those states with the death penalty than in those without it.
Even though some argue that the death penalty is as much a crime as the crime itself, if a terrible crime has been committed, it should only be served with a just punishment. For example, aggravated murder's standard punishment is life in prison or death. But clearly, if someone is so vile and sick in order to commit this crime, the only option is for them to be sentenced to death. Mainly, it will show other criminals what punishment awaits them if they choose to commit this crime. Also, that a crime such as this can only be justly punished by death. And lastly, being that if a criminal, such as a repetitive murderer, is not sentenced to death, if released, he would be likely to strike again. So for the safeness of society, he should be killed.
Another reason that we should abolish the death penalty is because the death penalty costs almost 5 times as much as putting a prisoner in jail for a lifetime. This is because death penalty, you need to do a lot of research. You also have to do a lot of preparing and pay for executioners and materials needed. For life in prison, you need a prison, you need food, and you need guards. Now, you can either be paying $5 million for taxpayers or $1 million if you abolish the death penalty.
Lock up even the worst murderers and throw away the key, the theory goes, and they can never kill anyone again. This quote was said by a former doctor who was sentenced to death for the murder in the state of Oklahoma. But the fact of the matter is, even if you put someone behind bars for life, it doesn't guarantee that they will stay there or kill again. Another example of why the death penalty should be used more frequently and definitely not be abolished is the story of Joseph Druce. Druce was sentenced to life in prison in Massachusetts for murder. In prison, his inmate, George Gogan, was a former priest serving 9 to 10 years. Even though Druce was in prison for life, that did not stop him from killing again. He was found guilty for the murder of his inmate. He was sentenced to life in prison, which did not affect him at all because that was his previous sentence. Instead of being sentenced to life again, the thought of the death penalty should have at least came up in deciding the punishment. Another great example is the story of Danny Rouse, who was sentenced to life without parole for the murder of a young boy in 1979. Only 6 months ago did the jail in which he was serving thought he was rehabilitated and he was set free. Only 6 months later, he said a feeling came over him while he strangled 16-year-old Stephanie Wagner. When given another shot at life, he decided to take someone else's. This shows that there really isn't such a thing as life without parole, because they will always find a way to get out and kill again.
These have been some ideas on whether or not the death penalty should or shouldn't be abolished. I would like the YouTube viewers to comment and state your opinion on this subject. Thank you.